Okay. So Xiaomi India, right? We've been in India since 2014. We've existed as a group since 2010. And right from day one, when the group was actually, that came into being, and consequently, Xiaomi India, when we came into being, we inherited the group's code of conduct. Now, the group's code of conduct has always believed in equal opportunity and absolutely zero tolerance of any kind when it comes to any kind of discrimination, whether it's gender based or religion or caste or ethnic identity, race, color, nationality. Could be sexual orientation, could be, with respect to age or socioeconomic backgrounds or disability. So family status, marital status. So we've never really, discriminated on any of these grounds, and this is part of our code of conduct right from day zero. And anybody who's even, joining us on day zero, they are actually given a physical copy of this code of conduct, and they sign off on this. And at different points in time, during the course of their own employment life cycle, this is something that we continuously go back to, and we reinforce our code of conduct, multiple times during the year. So this is something that's top of mind for pretty much everybody at Xiaomi India, and even at the group level, and we place a lot of importance on this. We do. And in fact, one of the first formal sessions that we had around unconscious bias was back in 2020, right? That was the first formal training that we had around the same topic, unconscious bias and mindfulness. And we actually, had sessions with the leadership team. And we broke down those sessions across multiple employee groups, right? So there was a session for the leadership team, and there was a session for the mid-management level, and then of course there was sessions, multiple sessions in fact, for employees across the entire company. And this is something that we've gone back to, and we've reinforced, multiple trainings, in 2021, in 2022, and 2023 as well. So every year, there will be multiple training sessions on unconscious bias and mindfulness. So like I said, right, gender diversity is something that we are definitely focusing on consciously. At the same time, we have a lot of ERGs internally, particularly for, LGBTQI plus people. Also, not necessarily a ERG, but we have people with disabilities, with physical disabilities as well, who are part of the workforce. And at no point in time, right, these are all people who have applied for jobs with us. We've evaluated them on merit, and we made sure that, given that they are really, here on the strength of their talent and on the strength of their skills, they're not disadvantaged in any way. Particularly, we are working with a few NGOs to help, transgender people as well upskill themselves, and then as a part of the full, skill building journey, there is a plan in place. Once, formal training for them ends, we take them on board, and offer them jobs as a part of our after sales teams, or as part of, field promoters, in-store sales, and so on and so forth. So there is an NGO that we are partnering with in this space. Like I said, we definitely do showcase success stories of women, especially women who are really successful in the field, because sales typically is looked at as, a no-go area for a lot of women professionals. So we try and showcase and highlight some of those. Last year, we had, created 2 learning tracks for 2 different cohorts of women employees as well. One program was called Fem Forward, and this was really, aimed at entry as well as early, supervisors, women in that space. And we had invited women to sign up for it, and we had close to about 100 women who actually signed up for that program. A lot of them actually made it through that 3-month long journey, and successfully completed that program. On the other side, for our mid and senior level women leaders, we sponsored their participation into a women leaders program, an external program, 1,000 women leaders program. That's what it was called. Again, quite a few women signed up for it. And in fact, by the end of that, 3-month long journey, 3 women actually made it to the top 10% club, the winners club as well, and actually, got nationwide recognition on that front. So what really happened after that is we started receiving a lot of interest from a lot of other women as well. How do I sign up for it? Next year, will you be running it? Are you going to look at more programs and build out some of these additional capabilities that or offer similar opportunities to a lot of women leaders within the company as well? So I think there's no black and white answer to something like this. Again, different women will have different priorities. We talk to each of them. We work with them to try and resolve what we can resolve for them. Whatever flexibility and whatever support we are able to offer as a company to people who are looking for breaks for whatever reasons, we try and talk to them and address those on a case-to-case basis. But in terms of flexibility, especially, there is the maternity benefit, of course, which is there for 6 months. But beyond that, if women need flexible hours, need more work from home time, or extension of their maternity leaves, and all of those are, of course, always available to them. But pre-maternity leave as well, sometimes due to medical reasons or due to doctor's advice or something of that sort, we are open to the idea of such employees actually working from their home, or if they need separate cabs for pick and drop, and so some of these facilities, they are always available to them. So for some of these programs, right, like around unconscious bias, we do have partners in place. They will come in and they will talk about unconscious bias and how to deal with it. We do have employee assistance helplines available as well for any kind of counseling that somebody may require. We have, of course, the formal POSH policy under law. But at the same time, that is a gender neutral policy. So in fact, all policies at Xiaomi are gender neutral. They are not necessarily just for a particular gender. In 2020, I think we were possibly one of the first companies in the country to actually offer, partner group medical cover. It was gender agnostic. We did not necessarily go to town about it and make a huge splash about it like some of the other companies did. But this was January 2020. I still remember this very distinctly. This was one of the biggest changes that we had made in our insurance cover, where same-sex partners can be covered as well. So there are a lot of external partners that we bring on board on a need basis. There'll be gender sensitivity workshops. There'll be external speakers. We'll invite. We had last year as a part of the Pride Month celebrations, we invited one key voice from the industry to actually have a session with our employees in office. Again, we keep doing these on an ongoing basis. A lot of work in this space also is employee driven. So we like I said, we have this ERG, and we invite people to actually come up with suggestions and ideas on what we could do within that group. And then whatever support that is required, we let the employees run that entire initiative themselves, rather than as an organization. We drive a particular agenda. Our focus is to more create offer a platform, offer the resources, but let this be more employee driven, because rather than this being a push, if it's again, the thought process is, if it's the employees who are coming up with the ideas, there'll be greater buy-in. You don't necessarily need to go and hard sell a particular initiative out. You rather let the employees come up with the initiative and run with it, and automatically the organic participation in a lot of these initiatives goes up dramatically. So the local leadership is definitely very vocal about this, and given multiple platforms, they will talk about this, and their job is to actually try and eliminate wherever some biases may be creeping in, right? And of course, at a high level, the sponsors of a lot of projects are members of the leadership team, but ultimately, the owners of the projects are the employees themselves. So there'll be sponsorship from a leadership level. There'll be very vocal support from the leadership level, and of course there'll be checks and balances at the leadership level, especially where they see that there may be things may be getting derailed, or certain people may necessarily be maneuvering a particular initiative in a different direction, or trying to look at their own agenda before the organizational agenda. So this is where the leadership definitely plays the role of a very strong checkup. I think from like we spoke about, right? Unconscious bias is something that you consciously have to keep front and center. And as an organization, I think that's something that we are definitely focusing upon, and trying to create a lot of awareness around. On the other hand, really, employees also need to come forward and be willing to take on some of the opportunities that are available there, and break that mold that this job is not for me, or I may not be the best person for a particular job, or so there is it has to be a mutual handshake, coming together of two different entities. So while our job is to try and offer a safe place, create that element of psychological safety, and on the other hand, you'd expect the employee also to really come forward. So people with different sexual preferences, orientations, they need to also come forward and be open about some of the choices that they've made. And at our end, it's about being more accepting and being more understanding, and trying to create that space where they feel comfortable voicing out their own preferences there. And similarly, like I was speaking about earlier, feet on street, those sales teams that we have on the ground, for women to actually really be comfortable with the idea of being in the field and engaging with retailers across the country, and not necessarily worrying about the person on the other side of the table, or how will they get perceived. So some of those are internal barriers that they also need to really be willing to overcome, and shake those off, and really be open to the opportunity that could be available to them. So that's very organic for us, because we have a physical presence, across the entire length and breadth of the country. We have, more than 600 people in after sales all over the country. out of a employee base of about only 1,000 people. So more than 600 people are feet on street for us across different roles. In addition to that, we have a very large in shop, in store, 8,000 kind of a field force. Again, in store promoters that we have. And these are people from all over the country. Not limited to just tier 1 or tier 2 cities, and when we go to hire in those specific cities, again the idea is to actually hire somebody from that city who knows that city really well, who understands the demographics of that city, who understands the way of working in a particular city, rather than hiring somebody from Bangalore and then sending that person to a tier 3 town. That would not make sense. So the approach has always been, scout for local talent, and the fact that we have a physical footprint all over the country. And thankfully, we have a fairly recognizable brand as well. So that helps us attract, the kind of talent that we are really looking for. So one thing is, just we, like I said, we have a ERG for people with different preferences and orientations, and only members of who people who have openly come out are members of that group, right? The idea is they can have their own conversations without fear of judgment or without anything of that sort. We publish the link and the QR codes for entry into that group, and people are free to just scan in into that group and engage in those conversations. At the same time, we also have a allyship program. So where we encourage people to actually come out very vocally in support of people who really are looking for that kind of support in the workplace, and anybody who's coming who wants to become an ally, we try, and last year was the first time we actually did that, right? So it's not like this is something that we've had right from day zero. But allyship was something that we started encouraging a lot through the course of last year. And we ran programs, again, training workshops, awareness workshops on how to be an ally, right? So there were a lot of communication sent through the organization. And some people definitely did, come out very vocally in support and are very vocal allies. But then all of the messaging also created that sense of awareness within the larger, organization. So that has helped to a certain extent. At the same time, we have our employee assistance partner. So we have helplines available for people. Again, under that initiative, it's not limited to just what you just this specific area. People who may be just experiencing who need any kind of psychological support, not limited to just fear of coming out, but any kind of issues that may be bothering them, right? Young parents, working professionals, work stress, personal stress. In fact, our EAP partner, the deal that we have with them is that you're as an employee, you automatically can avail of the services, but one other member of your family can also actually go in and avail of the same services. So sometimes, when it comes to marital counseling, if somebody really wants to go in for couples therapy, right, that is also an option which is available to them, and that is something that we offer to all employees. And like I said, almost all of our initiatives, right, are supposed to be gender neutral. We're not really focusing on devising policies which are specific to a particular gender. but rather it's supposed to be gender neutral in every sense of the word. So new fathers, or co-parents, and nuclear families, large families, or what have you. Pretty much everything gets covered in terms of the kind of benefits that we really want to offer to our employees.